Now look here, Skip. When you bring a wild stallion into your stable, you better make sure the gate locked and the ranch hands ready. 'Cause Jalen Ramsey, he ain't no Shetland pony. He's a full-blown Mustang. Beautiful, powerful, unpredictable. Shannon Sharp now, Skip. Let me tell you something. When Omar Khan picked up that phone and said, "We'll take Ramsey," the NFL world had a collective, "Who?" moment. Minka Fitzpatrick, a defensive staple in the black and gold, gone like last season's stat sheet. Replaced by a cornerback who's been in the headlines more for off-field tension than game-changing picks lately. On paper, it kinda makes sense. Fitz had slowed up some. Wasn't flying around the field like we used to see. And Jalen Ramsey, when healthy and dialed in, he can lock down a side of the field like TSA on a holiday weekend. But Skip, this ain't just Madden ratings and highlight tapes. This about chemistry, culture, control. Skip, I ain't gonna sugarcoat this one. The Dolphins' locker room had become a little too South Beach, if you know what I mean. Sunshine, flash, not enough grit. And guess who was in the middle of that storm? Yup, Jalen Ramsey. Reports came out that he was late to meetings. Undermining Vic Fangio? Lord have mercy. Trying to big dog the head coach Mike McDaniel? Now that's a problem. I ain't saying McDaniel weak, but he don't command a room like Mike Tomlin do. And in Miami, they ain't had no real dogs on that defense that could pull Ramsey to the side and say, "Look here, bro, cut that out." That lack of leadership, that's what let Ramsey roam unchecked like a teenager with a fake ID. And now, Pittsburgh's betting that their house is different. Now let me put it like this. If Mike McDaniel is your chill college professor in sandals, Mike Tomlin is your old school high school principal with the paddle still hanging on the wall. There's levels to this. And Tomlin don't play. Never has. When you walk into that Steelers locker room, you feel it. The presence of greatness, the standard of effort, and the quiet authority that demands your respect. Cam Hayward, that's the enforcer. TJ Watt, that's the example. Patrick Peterson, shoot, that's the elder statesman now. You can't walk in there with diva energy. That ain't Pittsburgh. That ain't the Steel City. You do that nonsense, and you'll be eating pierogies on the sideline in a coat by week 5. Here's the thing, Skip. Jalen Ramsey is two people. There's Jalen the player, the all-pro, the shutdown corner, the dog who makes the receiver's job harder than a Sunday sermon after Saturday night sin. Then there's Jalen the persona, the trash talker, the ego, the guy who sometimes seems more interested in proving a point than playing his position. And every locker room he's been in, they've had to juggle those two sides. Jacksonville tried. The Rams got the best version of him for a while. But Miami, man, they got the chaos version. Now Pittsburgh, they trying to pull that prime LA version out the bag and hope the Miami mess stays in the suitcase. I want you to picture this. Skip, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Rush, Corey Trice Jr., young corners just stepping into their own. These boys grew up watching Jalen Ramsey highlights on YouTube. They had his Madden Ultimate Team card. Now imagine Ramsey walking into that DB room. What he says gon' matter. How he moves gon' matter. And if he decides to go rogue, that locker room influence can turn into a virus. Fast. You ever seen a young player try to imitate a star's attitude without earning the resume first? It's like trying to wear a crown without the kingdom. Look foolish, get humbled quick. That's the gamble Pittsburgh taking. Let's not forget football, Skip. Ramsey's still got some juice in the tank. Don't get it twisted. He's not washed. He's not Darrelle Revis in Kansas City. He's still top 10, maybe top 5 when healthy. But Pittsburgh don't run that press, man. Let the corner live on an island style 100% of the time like the Rams did. They're more disguise and destroy. Zone looks. Mixed responsibilities. So the question is, will Jalen buy in? Will he play the system? Or will he try to freelance? We've seen corners freelance in cost games. Ask any defensive coordinator who's been burned on a busted coverage. Mike Tomlin ain't just a coach. He's a culture. Never had a losing season. Motivator of men. The kind of leader that can take a 9-8 team and make IN believe they're contenders. But this move, this one right here, this one gon' test that leadership like never before. Ramsey ain't just a player. He is a personality. You bring him in, you basically saying, I can handle this. If it works, Tomlin gets flowers. If it flops, people gon' say he lost his fastball. We seen it before. Antonio Brown in Oakland, yikes. Odell Beckham in Cleveland, flash, then fade. Jalen in Jacksonville, all-world talent, until he clashed with the staff. Sometimes these talent trades ain't worth the trouble. And Pittsburgh ain't been the type to go Hollywood. This ain't the Rams. This the Rust Belt. They didn't want drama, they want defense. Now Skip, I'm a hopeful man. Let's say Ramsey gets in line, learns the playbook, buys into Tomlin, starts balling like 2018. That changes everything. Now you got Joey Porter Jr. on one side, Ramsey on the other, and TJ Watt up front making QBS panic, like they forgot the snap count. That secondary could go from decent to dominant real quick. I ain't saying McDaniel weak, but he don't command a room like Mike Tomlin do. And in Miami, they ain't had no real dogs on that defense that could pull Ramsey to the side and say, look here, bro, cut that out. That lack of leadership, that's what let Ramsey roam unchecked like a teenager with a fake ID. And now, Pittsburgh's betting that their house is different. Now let me put it like this. If Mike McDaniel is your chill college professor in sandals, Mike Tomlin is your old school high school principal with the paddle still hanging on the wall. There's levels to this. And Tomlin don't play. Never has. When you walk into that Steelers locker room, you feel it. The presence of greatness, the standard of effort, and the quiet authority that demands your respect. Cam Hayward, if Ramsey falls in line, Pittsburgh might just go from playoff hopefuls to conference nightmares. But if it goes left, Ramsey starts chirping, media storm brews, young players imitate him. Tomlin gets stuck explaining post-game headlines instead of post-game plans. And in a division with Burrow, Lamar, and Deshaun, you can't afford confusion. Not in the AFC North. Not when every inch is earned and nothing given. At the end of the day, Skip, you can't win in this league just on talent. You win with structure, with buy-in, with belief. Jalen Ramsey can be the steel that sharpens steel, or the rust that ruins the whole foundation. Pittsburgh bet on Tomlin, bet on Cam, bet on Cam, bet on the culture. Now it's up to Ramsey to decide. Will he buy in or burn it all down? Now, Skip, I done seen a lot of things in my day, but I ain't never seen a diva walk into a Tomlin locker room and walk out the same. Either you change your tune, or they turn your mic off. This gon' be fun to watch. Shannon Sharp.